Yo, welcome to ceramics and our first project. We are going to design a stamp for clay, a tool that you can use to press into clay and leave your mark, your name. So we're going to design a tool that we can use to sign your pots. So we're going to design using TinkerCAD, and we're going to print the stamp on a 3D printer in plastic, and this will be our first tool that we're going to use in ceramics class. All right, guys, let me pause Loggins and Messina there. Ew. Who? Okay, so I'm on sandbergart.com/ceramics. And so I'm on our class page here. And I'm going to scroll down to Unit 2, 3D Design, where we see the two programs that we're going to be using this school year. So TinkerCAD is the first one, and that's where we're starting. So I'm going to click on TinkerCAD. For me, I'm already logged in. So this will open up my profile. For you guys, you probably have to log in for the first time. So you're going to use your school account, your Gmail account. So log in with Google. Make sure that your tab is set to your school account. Okay, if you're in your personal account, you might not be able to log in with the free software. So make sure that you're logged into the tab using your school account. Okay, so I'm logged in already. Here's all the stuff. I've made a bunch of stuff on here, blah, blah, blah. Your guys' dashboard will be blank, okay? So what you guys are going to do is create a new design. So I'm going to click on New Design. There's lots of stuff that you guys can do. This is a super simple software. It's so fun. And definitely feel like you can play around with this and try new things, make new designs. What we're going to make is a stamp that we're going to sign our name to. Or we're going to make a stamp that we're going to use to sign our names to our pots. We're going to use this as a tool to press our name into our pots. So you can do this in a lot of ways. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in the box shape as my starting point. And then from there, I'm going to put the lettering on it, and I'll show you why. So what I'm going to start with is the box. So I drag that from over here, from the side. I drag that onto my work plane, and then I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to make it shorter. So what I want for this is I want this to be about 5 millimeters high. So I can drag that to the height using these little pieces, the little grabbers here. And you can see how my dimension changes. I can also click on one. So I'm clicking on the top one and then type in what I want. So I want that to be 5 millimeters high, and it'll shrink down. Okay. So I'm going to move this over here so I can zoom in a little bit better. I'll move this up here. So I can grab on this, see, and I can change my dimensions. So I want my little square. This is my back plate for my stamp. I want that to be 5 millimeters tall. Okay. Now I'm going to put the lettering on here. So I'm going to scroll down. I'm in the basic shapes. If I click on this, you'll see there's lots of different things that you can select on here, and you can play around with that. I'm just going to stick to basic shapes for now. I'm going to go over to text, click on that one, and drag that over. Boom. And then in here, in this box, when I have the text selected, I can change what the text says. So I'm going to do McCabe. I can change. You don't have a lot of font options here. Try that one. Let's see. See what that looks like. Let me zoom out. So I'm using my trackpad, my 2 fingers on my trackpad to zoom out. I'm going to click on this, make this smaller, Move this over. So I'm looking at, right now, I'm looking at the proximity to the edge of this. I don't want it to be right on the edge. I want to give it a little space around the edge. I think that's good for strength, okay? I'm going to use this box up here. You can move around this. So it's nice to be able to zoom in to this and change my view. So that seems nice. Maybe I want this to be a little bit more compressed for the look of it. So I'm going to go a little flatter here. So that's about 8 millimeters tall, the lettering. So I'm going to shrink up the box now. And I'm looking at the border when I do that. The tops of my letters, like the B and the M, I don't want it to be shrunken like that. I'm going to give it a little edge all around here, so that I can, so that I'm sure the letters are really on there and they're going to be strong, because this is going to be a tool that I'm going to use. Okay. So I'm clicking the letters again. Now what I want for the letters, the platform is 5 millimeters tall. I want my letters to also be 5 millimeters tall coming off of that. Okay, so that's the total height of this is 10. So my letters are 10 millimeters tall. Okay, I can click on this one and I can change that to 12. See the height changes? Click on that. 15. Whoops. Oh, God. 15. Oh, geez. I select all. Let's see what happens. 15. Boom. But I want that to be 10. So it's not so big. Okay, and that looks great to me. I cannot be done here, though. If I'm done here, when I use this stamp, when I grab that stamp and stamp something, it's going to come out backwards. So what I need to do is I need to flip this so it's the stamp itself is backwards, so that when I use it, it comes out the right way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click over here on the side of my plane, click and hold, and drag a selection box over both pieces, which highlights everything. And then I'm going to click this tool right here. This says group. Okay, so when I click that, it groups it all together. So this whole thing, I can click on the whole thing and move it around. It's all one piece. If I click this right here, it says ungroup. Okay, now if I grab one of these and move it, they move separately, so they're two different pieces. So when you feel like you have this, when you're good and ready, select the whole thing and then click group, and it's all one piece. We're going to do that because I need to flip this. So I'm taking note right now. This is, let's see, this is about 10, let's say I'm going to go 12 millimeters. What the heck? It's 12 millimeters by, I'll move this down here so I can read that. By 46 millimeters, 48 millimeters. So now I'm going to drag the side. I'm clicking this little side button over here, grabber, and I'm going to go over to 46 millimeters. And now I'm in reverse. So this is the mirror image for my stamp. This is what I need right here. So this one is 45 millimeters, 46-ish. This one is 46 millimeters, which is a good length. 25 millimeters is about an inch. So this is about 2 inches long, and not very tall. Okay, so that's going to be pretty good. We don't want to make a huge one. We don't want to make a tiny one. If it's too big, it's hard to use. If it's too small, it's impossible to use. So the last thing I'm going to do is click this and rename it. So always last name, comma, first name, dash, title of your project, stamp, I'm going to say. Stamp 1, let's say. Oh, no, I already have a stamp 1, so I'll just leave it stamp. No, stamp 2. Okay, there's my title. And then I'm going to export this. So we export these files as I want them as STLs. Okay, so I click export STL and it downloaded right here. Okay, then if I go back to the web page and go to archive, it opens up my folders, and this is how you turn this into me. So now I can go to my downloads, or right here where just downloaded. I can drag this into the general box, but this is now where it goes. Once it uploads, you can drag it to whichever class you are in. Okay? So do not leave them out here. Put them here. This is how I check them off for a grade and make sure they have everything nice and organized. Here's my stamp that I just printed. I glued it to this wooden block. So there's forwards and there's backwards, the mirror image. So I glued it to this wood block just so it's easier for me to hold, as I've done with a lot of these. I put like little drawer pulls and stuff on them just to make it easier to handle, as opposed to just being a piece of plastic, which is fine and totally works and is probably how most of you will do it. But anyways, this is forwards, right? So we flipped it in the program. We did that because here it is forwards. If I flip this here and then stamp it, it reads backwards, okay? But on this side here, I flipped it in the program so it printed backwards. So now when I use it, it comes out correctly. So here's my stamp tool. Again, this is the forwards, the correct reading, but the improper stamp. And this is the backwards rendition, the mirror image, which prints then correctly. Okay, so again, it's super important to flip those suckers. And yeah, you can have so much fun. I mean, once you get through this little one right here, you can do other stuff with these, and they're great little tools to add additions to add in so many ways to your clay projects. So yeah, try this one. Do your name, your initials, your first name, whatever you guys want, and then try other stuff. Send me files, and let's get to printing.